everyone, it's Shel from Paper Octio Studio. Today I am back and I am ready to share with you another art journal page for hashtag November Daily Art Journal Challenge. Today's prompt is midnight. So this is my small Dilutions journal still, and I have gessoed this page. I gave it a couple coats of gesso before I started. Didn't figure you needed to watch that. You've seen gesso before. It's not that big of a surprise. Then because the prompt was midnight, I pulled out this Deco Arts Media Line Fluid acrylic called Payne's Gray, because this Payne's Gray always makes me think of dark, of midnight, of dark skies. It's gray, but it's very blue. It's like almost a really dark navy color. It's an interesting color. I don't know. I might have called it blue. I might have called it Payne's Blue instead of Payne's Gray. But, you know, I just wanted to get some of that on there and make the whole background dark. I didn't try to make it smooth. I didn't try to put multiple layers to make it complete coverage. I wanted kind of a loosely filled in movement in the background, because I was going to try this, which is to use alcohol inks over the top of acrylic paint. Never tried to do that before, but I was thinking about how black isn't black, how it's the multitude of colors, and that's what I was trying to portray. I can't even speak. I've been on vacation. I can't even speak. I wanted to show like a dark rainbow, basically, like color with inside of dark. That was my concept. So it worked out pretty well. It was an interesting effect anyway. It's kind of hard to see on the video. Well, you can see it a little bit. But I used indigo, stream, and sailboat blue acrylic inks on the applicator that Ranger sells along with their acrylic inks, which is basically some foam, or not foam, felt on. They do have a foam one, but that's for acrylic paint. This is the felt one, and then you stick it onto this Velcro, and that way you don't get your hands all stained with alcohol ink. Ha! Look what happened there. Always remember to close your paint before you shake it. That is the high flow from Golden, which I wanted to use for splatters for the stars, because it's so intensely pigmented and opaque. So I went to shake it, and it went kaplooey all over everything. And I left that in so that you could get a laugh. How stupid is she? She doesn't close her paint. So yeah, I use that for the splatters to make stars in the sky. This is the midnight sky, so it needs stars, obviously. And that worked pretty well. Then I decided to make a moon, because, you know, if you have stars, you usually have a moon unless it's cloudy. But it's not cloudy in this picture. And so I painted on my moon using a brush with that same leftover titanium white, and then I decided it was way too big. I was not having a good, easy time with this. You know, you go on vacation, you're laying on the beach for a week, you're playing in the ocean, and then you come back, and it's so hard to start back up. It's so hard to, I was pushing it so hard before I left and doing multiple pages a day so that I could cover a day, you know, a page every day. And then I get back and I'm just like, oh, I just want to lay around. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do the laundry. I don't want to cook. I don't want to do anything. I've been on vacation, and now I'm a spoiled princess who should just be allowed to do absolutely nothing. And so on Sunday is the day that I should have been making this for Monday morning so that it would come out bright and early. I laid in bed. I read my books. I got up and watched some television. Yeah, I didn't do any art. So, like, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. So then just getting back into it is just really, it's strange. It's like, I don't know. I love to do art. I don't know what my problem is. But anyway, back to the page now that I've told you my story. So I'm drawing. Yeah, I'm drawing. That's what I'm doing. I've got my Pentel Graph Gear 1000, my favorite pencil. It has 2B graphite in it. And I'm drawing a campfire and a couple people who are stargazing. I do love to do this if I go camping. I like to just usually actually lay more than sit on a blanket and watch the stars. Because if you live in a city, even though the city that I live in, they don't, the section of the city that I live in doesn't have any street lights on the inside of the neighborhoods because there is an observatory up on the hill and they don't like it to be too bright so that they can't see the stars and planets and things. So no street lights. Excuse me. See, I'm still yawning. I'm a princess. All I want to do is lay around in bed. I'm telling you, I'm a princess. But yeah, the observatory doesn't like streetlights, so we don't have streetlights. But even so, I live in a large city, and there's still light pollution, is what they call it, down in the city. So it's hard to see the stars. We can see stars, but not to the extent of when you go out into camping in the wilderness, and they're just like they're amazing how many stars are out there. It's just completely blanketed, and there's ones that are far away and ones that are closer, and yeah, that's what I was trying to make this look like, smaller, bigger stars. So then I was trying to think of something that would be opaque enough to go over the top of all this darkness now that I've drawn my characters. Another yawn. Wow, I'm a mess. I decided to use the oil pastels. I haven't used these very much. In fact, this is maybe the third time I've ever used them, and one of them was on one of the pages that you saw me do. So I decided to try them. They are usually pretty opaque, and I didn't really want like crazy, crazy bright characters because it's dark. Yeah, it's dark. It's dark on this page. It's midnight. You're outside in the dark. And yeah, the fire is keeping you warm and it's casting a little bit of light so you can at least see the people. Otherwise, the whole page just would have been covered with black gesso and that would be it. We already had this discussion. It's dark. But yeah, so I thought the oil pastels were a good choice. And once I started using them, it actually is exactly the effect that I wanted. I wish they were a little bit smoother in color. They're kind of like, they're like a crayon kind of where you get kind of a spotty color. But I did figure out that I could blend them using a blending stump or a tortillon or a tortilla, if that's what you want to call it. I did figure that out eventually. And also I used my finger a little bit to blend them because I don't know, the best description I can give you is a crayon. How you don't get a full coverage when you color with them, but it worked out fine. And the people do look like they're in the dark. They're not super bright and crazy looking. So yeah, I thought it worked out pretty well. So I have a guy and a girl, and the girl is pointing out something, which I ended up making shooting stars so that she would have something to point at. Unless she's pointing at the moon, I guess. She could be, but no, that didn't make sense to me. So I'm just coloring, trying to get a little bit of highlights and shadowing, and then you saw me blending with my finger, trying to get it to smooth out a little bit. I'm not sure how these will hold up in my art journal with it being closed. I don't know if there will be transfer from this oily kind of product to the other side of the page. I probably should seal it before I, close it for a long time, but I won't. I won't get to that. So we'll find out if oil pastel transfers. It probably does. I don't know. And if you're wondering what I seal with, it depends on what I used on the page. Sometimes I don't seal at all because I don't think that it's going to be a problem. If I've used a lot of acrylic paint, I have a problem with the two pages sticking together because it gets sticky. Or if I've used Mod Podge, which I don't use anymore, but I did have some of it before, it gets sticky and it sticks the pages together. If it's something that's going to be sticky, then I use Daddy Van's beeswax, which is a furniture polish. It's just pure beeswax and it smells good. It doesn't have a chemical smell at all. So I will rub that over pages that I think are going to be sticky. If it's a page that I think is going to get ruined from having something on it, like if it's a water-based product or maybe in the case of these oil pastels, I do have a matte acrylic spray that it's an aerosol spray. Don't use that inside your house. It stinks. The stuff stinks. Take it outside, but I will sometimes, if I'm really concerned with it, I will take it outside and just give it a light coating of that spray from like 12 to 18 inches away. Just of course using a piece of cardboard underneath it so I don't get it on anything. And then leave it out for, a half an hour outside and most of the smell goes away and that will seal it. So if you're really concerned about your pages, that's a good idea. If you don't really care, I mean, it's an art journal. It's not the end of the world if something happens. Really, it's not, because this isn't going into the museum to be hung on the wall. This is where you're getting out your feelings, you're getting out your creativity, you're working on creativity, you're practicing skills, you're trying experiments like putting alcohol ink over acrylic paint. I'm going to do that some more with some lighter colors just to see what happens. I also keep thinking I'm going to make alcohol ink sprays like my friend Peg did. I'd really like to have all the sprays that she has, but I don't have that much alcohol ink. She had a huge thing full and she made these really great permanent sprays mixing it with alcohol. It's over on her channel. I'm not sure. If I find the link, I'll put it in for you. If I can't find it, then I won't. If I can't find it quickly, then I won't. You can go over to Peg's channel and take a look. A link to Peg's page will be below if she made one for this prompt. Yeah, so anyway, alcohol ink over acrylic with oil pastels. That is mixed media, people. I mixed up the media. So once all my coloring was done to my satisfaction, I decided to go ahead and make illustration lines using Posca pen. Of course, the oil pastel doesn't really want me to write over the top of it, but the Posca pen still worked okay. I had to keep cleaning them off on the scratch paper underneath because they did collect a little bit of that oily residue onto them. But surprisingly, it did work. Posca pens are just awesome like that. They write over stuff. They really do, even oil pastels. I am surprised. I know you're surprised too. It's surprising. The white one didn't work quite as well as the black, but I was able to put in my illustration lines to make a little bit more definition on my people and on my fire. Wouldn't it be nice to have a fire outside right now? Like not right now today in the middle of the day, but at night tonight. I think it would be really fun. I think I want to do that. A bonfire and roast some marshmallows and yeah, I want to do that. So here's the white, just giving my sketchy highlights like I normally do. You've seen me do this before. And you can see I'm having trouble with it. It's not wanting to write as well as the black did. But it still did eventually work. I just had to get it flowing. It hasn't seen me in a week, so it was being stubborn because, I'd been gone and it was mad. Yeah, because inanimate objects can be mad. Of course they can. Yeah. My Posca pen missed me and it instead of going around and peeing on my shoes and stuff like a cat would, it just got dry and wouldn't write. Yeah, that was my punishment. So once again, I'm drawing really, really tiny faces and it's not too easy to do because they're tiny. Why don't I make bigger faces? Wouldn't that be smart to just make some bigger faces for once? So then I figured there would be little hints of grass and weeds because I'm outside, so I put those in with my black Posca, and then I did end up highlighting with the white at some point. Oh yes, I wanted to touch up a few. When I wiped away the moon, the first moon that I drew, there was a few pieces of paint that weren't quite dry, and they wiped away and looked weird, so I touched them up with the Payne's Gray paint with my finger a little bit because it looked weird. It was bothering me. Yeah, just bothering me a little bit. So anyway, I hope you guys have been enjoying this video. Not my best, not my worst. Of course, I will have 2 more days worth of art journaling pages, and then it'll be December. I think I'm going to do a 7-day series in December, probably mid-December, where I'm going to do some mixed media ornaments. I like to make ornaments for my tree, and my tree is completely covered with handmade ornaments that were either made by myself, or a ton of them were made by my family, because we used to have an ornament exchange every year, where people in the family, and it's a huge family, would make an ornament for every other family. So every family got a handmade ornament each year. We haven't done that in lots of years, but that's where I got my love of handmade Christmas ornaments. So I think I'm going to do that. And then, of course, there will be shimmery art and collaboration. And I think that's all I have so far planned. Of course, Pick a Stick Challenge and Mission Inspiration. But yeah, it'll be back to videos every other day. I know some of you are disappointed. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe, comment, all those things. You guys have been doing a great job of that. That's awesome, and I'm very thankful. And that's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.